Welcome back to Second and Short. It is March 22nd, 2023. NFL free agency slowed down. Nothing's happening with college football, really. But the World Baseball Classic final is going on right now as we speak. It's the bottom of the third. Japan is winning 2-1. We've got tons of stuff going on with the World Baseball Classic. This week, Brock was a little bit busy. So I've brought in Nathan to fill in for him.
Uh,
Some of the listeners know who Nathan is, but you can go ahead and introduce yourself.
yeah, I'm Nathan. Big baseball guy, played baseball, coached baseball. Now I'm just big on disc golf.
But I won't bore you all with him talking about it. So he's not going to talk about it too much.
Fair enough.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and get into it. Things we're going to be running through, of course, a little bit of NFL free agency moves, some news going along with it, a little bit of college football. We're going to hit you with the college football mascot draft. That one's going to be very fun. I have a feeling. We're going to talk about the World Baseball Classic, of course, and then we'll end it out with Do You Remember? Let's go ahead and get into the free agency moves because though it has slowed down, I still think there's very good deals being made. Nathan, what's one of your favorite moves that's been made these last couple days?
Honestly, I think the Dalton Schultz one's a pretty big one. Dalton Schultz and Devin Singletary going to the Texans. I think this is a great pickup for the Texans, who looked kind of shaky recently as being one of the worst teams in the NFL. I know
Safe to
me and you
say.
talked at one point. Yeah, it really is. I know me and you talked at one point that all they really needed was one good weapon. And I don't know if this really does that for sure. But I definitely think that this gives them a chance to actually do something for once.
Yeah, I think like these are both good pickups, but you also just lost Brandon Cooks, which we'll talk about that trade later. I don't see this as like a big move. Obviously, Dalton Schultz is a reliable pass catcher. He's solid in the red zone. Devin Singletary doesn't really do much for me. He's not a highly productive running back. He's obviously not going to be the primary running back over Damian Pierce. So I think they're both good moves. They're I believe both 1 year deals, pretty small money as well. So it's not like they threw out a ton of money at somebody, but they are good additions to an offense, especially when most likely they're drafting a quarterback in the first round at number 2 overall. You want to give him weapons to use.
For sure. And I have a feeling, just based on what Devin Singletary does, that we're gonna kind of see a Jamal Williams roll out of him where they put him in inside of 10 yards and just shove that bitch up the middle the entire time until it works.
That sounds like a great idea. It's a recipe for success. I want to talk about a couple of these backup quarterback moves because if you've been listening at all throughout the free agency, me and Luke have been gushing over free agent backup quarterback signings, and there was three solid ones. So first, Gardner Minshew, 1 year deal with the Colts, fantastic pickup. A guy that's kind of never gotten the spotlight. He was definitely like a big topic of conversation in Jacksonville before Trevor Lawrence, but
I mean, the cutoff jorts, how could you forget? He was cutting his own jorts.
that's true. That is a big deal. Yeah, of course. The cutoff jorts are fantastic. But Gardner Minshew is a solid backup quarterback. Obviously, the Colts are going to go first or going to go quarterback with their number 4 overall pick. I think that having Gardner Minshew there is a great move. The Seahawks, though, they re signed Drew Lock on a 1 year deal. And I don't totally understand this one because from the way that the Geno Smith contract is made, where they really don't have a ton of money tied up in him. A lot of it is it's small guaranteed money, a lot of incentives. I don't understand why you would keep Drew Lock on the team. I feel like you go for a young guy in the draft, or you go for maybe a young guy like late in the draft. But I don't see any use in bringing back Drew Lock.
Yeah, I don't really understand when he hasn't played much. I mean, what has he really proved to even be a backup? I mean, like, I know plenty of backups don't get much playing time, but why are you bringing this guy in unless he's just trying to learn under Geno Smith, which, isn't the best teacher in the world for sure, but I mean, he can teach you something, I guess.
Yeah, I just think it's like a very static move here. Like you don't take the team forward by bringing on a. It's like it's not like Drew Lock's going to compete for that starting spot. It's obvious that Gino has it. If you would have brought in a young guy with upside, at least there's like an idea like, oh, he could challenge Gino for the spot. Drew Lock
Yeah,
just
and I
doesn't do
mean,
that.
yeah, as one of my favorite podcast hosts says, this is a Call of Duty reference, but if you got the money to pack a punch, aren't you gonna pack a punch? What's the point of keeping that same weapon and not making it better?
Yeah, that's why you would draft Anthony Richardson at 5th overall.
Excuse me?
That's what I think the
Hold on, hold
Seahawks are
on,
going to
hold
do.
on, hold
I
on,
think the
hold on,
Seahawks are
hold
going to
on.
pick up Anthony Richardson at 5th overall.
There's no way they do that now. There
Why?
is no way they get Gino on a good contract, a solid contract, pick up a backup quarterback, and then say, you know what we're gonna do now with our 5th overall pick? Draft this shitter from
No,
Florida.
what I was saying is that they shouldn't have signed Drew Lock,
Oh, okay,
and they
yeah, yeah,
should
yeah,
have
yeah,
drafted
definitely,
Anthony
yes.
Richardson at 5.
Yes, I thought you meant that they were gonna make all these moves and then draft that idiot.
No, that
No
that wouldn't
offense,
make
Anthony
sense.
Richardson. I know you'll never listen to this, but you're an idiot.
I want to see the Wonderlic scores. I feel like he could test better than some.
He went to Florida, man. I don't know.
I think he could
I
probably
have a
beat
feeling.
Kelvin Benjamin.
I have a feeling he might go. I bet he goes 15 out of 50. When they come out, mark my words, 15 out of 50.
I'll be honest, I'd take that.
Would you?
Not for me personally, but as an NFL GM, I'd take it. I don't
Really? I
need
feel
I
like
don't
that's
need
selling
Ryan
yourself short.
Fitzpatrick. I don't need Ryan
You're telling me you
Fitzpatrick
don't
at
have the
quarterback.
Deion Sanders standards of quarterbacks?
No.
You don't want your quarterback to have like a 7 GPA somehow?
I,
With 4 parents all
yeah,
living in
that's
the
true.
same house?
Yeah, he wants you to live in like the rich version of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, like that kid, his family. He
Yes,
wants as
you're
many as
exactly
many
right.
fatherly and motherly figures in the household at once.
Yes, that is exactly correct.
All right, well, let's move on to the next quarterback signing because the Eagles picked up Marcus Mariota on a 1-year deal. I gotta say, Marcus Mariota is probably the best backup you can find right now.
Yeah, I mean, he's turning into fucking Fitzmagic over here. Just going around, playing for every team, not really doing too much, but having a little standout, and it looks good, and that just keeps him in the league enough to make some more money.
Yeah, and like I think he's the best case scenario backup for Jalen Hurts. They're not the same type of quarterback, but they can both work in a similar system. So if Jalen Hurts does go down again, like we saw late last year, Marcus Mariota could step in and run that offense. That's kind of why Gardner Minshew lost those 2 games. I don't think that system's made for Gardner Minshew to step in, but Marcus Mariota could run very similar plays to Jalen Hurts.
Definitely. And I mean, if you remember back to when he was at Oregon, that was just kind of what they did, was exactly what they're doing now. They run the ball a good bit with the quarterback. They throw the ball a good bit, obviously with the quarterback as well. So, it makes sense to get somebody who can do the same thing as your starter, just not on as high of a level. That's like exactly what you should do as a backup quarterback.
Yeah. And then the other backup quarterback move, Cooper Rush signed a 2-year deal to remain in Dallas, to remain the best quarterback on the Cowboys. Um, look, just look at the numbers. I think he was better than Dak. Um, I think this is a great deal. I questioned the 2 years. I don't really know why, but either way, having Cooper Rush there obviously worked out because he won you plenty of games while Dak was out this year, and there's no reason he shouldn't have been brought back.
Yeah, honestly, he proved his worth. Basically the opposite of what I said about Drew Lock. I mean, someone that's actually proved their value and worth in the NFL gets paid. That's how it should be.
Yeah.
And I just want to step in because you said and lastly and all, but there's one more that you forgot about as a backup
Oh
quarterback
my
filling that Alex
god.
Moran role here with the
Uh,
Browns getting the absolute genius that is Josh Dobbs. the Caillou himself.
I feel like that was an uncalled for thing to say. He doesn't deserve
Hey,
that,
man, they're both bald, and they both teach you a lot.
I guess. I don't know what I'd learn from Caillou at this point in my life.
I'm sure there's plenty of life lessons mixed into Caillou. I don't know why we're getting on a tangent of Caillou. Let's go back to Josh Dobbs, who
Fuck that whiny bitch.
back to what I said, didn't prove anything.
Yes.
But fuck it, it's the Browns, right? I mean, who cares?
Yeah, well, he's played there before. That's where he got drafted.
That's true. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
That means he's going on a retirement tour, right?
Maybe. I feel like
And
they should.
like I told you, and this is why you didn't want me to bring it up, but Josh Dobbs will make more money doing what he majored in than playing football. I say that right now wholeheartedly.
Yeah, he could be working for NASA right now.
Yes.
Instead, he works for the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah, which is a gigantic leap into the toilet.
Yeah, like personally, I'd probably rather work for the Cleveland Browns than NASA. But if I worked my ass off for years I think he's like a doctor. I think he has his like PhD. If
Yeah,
I
so
worked
he's
my ass off
Dr.
like that,
Dobbs, man.
I would not want to work or play for the Browns.
I just want to step in and say that Japan just hit another home run.
Yes, they did. Holy shit. Damn.
Kusama Okamoto, man. Absolute piss missile into the outfield.
That was fire. All right, it's 3-1 Japan. Any other quarterbacks?
I don't really have any other quarterbacks.
Okay. Braxton Berrios, who got dropped just a couple of days ago by the Jets, he signed a 1-year deal with the Dolphins. I don't know. He'll be there. I don't think he's going to have a huge impact. It's hard to get receptions when Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill are on your team.
Yeah, I mean, it depends if Tua's throwing and he can actually have a clue who he's throwing to and he's not dizzy or anything. Maybe if he's too dizzy, he'll actually get receptions, though.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe he'll be like, oh, that white dude over there kind of looks like Jalen Waddle.
Yeah, I mean, he's wearing the same color blue as us, right? Or green?
Don't ask me. All right. Darius Slay, a guy who will be wearing some green, returns to Philly. 2 years, $42 million. So this whole situation's been weird because Darius Slay made it kind of obvious that he wanted to be traded, and then was like to the point where he was like, "Thank you to the Eagles and the fans." It was that far, and then like Trae Young was trying to get him to come to Atlanta. He was also looking at Jacksonville, and now he just randomly Philly wants to offer him the money. It's a weird move.
I remember seeing on Twitter and some other news outlets that, like, he was rumored talking to these other teams and, like, even more other teams than you just said that I can't remember the names of. And then I randomly see a tweet, like, later the same day that was like, don't know where these rumors are coming from. Looks like he's going to stay in Philly. And then sure as shit, he signs right back with him.
Yeah, and he got paid. That's for sure. 2 years, $42 million. That's a lot, but I think he deserved it.
Oh, for sure. I mean, if you saw what he was doing, then you know.
Yeah, and then punter Thomas Morstead signed with the Jets on St. Patrick's Day. He made like a St. Patrick's Day post in like a Jets shirt, saying that he was wearing green next year.
I think there's nothing I love more than a cool free agency post from a punter.
Yeah, look, it's their only chance at the spotlight.
Hey, man, punters are people too, Grayson. Be nice to them.
Nope, don't care. We're moving on.
Yeah, that's
tight end Mike Gesicki, a guy who I think is criminally underrated and underutilized, signed a 1-year deal with the Patriots. He needed to leave Miami because he just was not getting the looks. And what's a better place for a white athletic tight end to go? New England.
Oh, of course. I mean, how can you not follow in the footsteps of Gronk and never be as good ever?
Yeah. Or
I mean, there's
fellow
only
tight end of the Patriots that did some bad things.
Okay. Well, that's an interesting take. We'll leave that one for the random comments. But still, I think Gesicki is, just like you said, criminally underrated. I mean, the man can ball. I mean, he gritties like no other. He catches the ball like every other tight end. He is mildly above average, if I had to be honest.
Yeah, but I feel like he's not talked about when it comes to like the top tight ends in the league only because he doesn't get the looks he deserves.
Well,
And
when you have this quarterback that can't see straight and these
okay,
other
yeah.
receivers who can run so fast that you don't see where they went and they're back in the locker room after the game already on the play, it's kind of hard to get receptions. And trust me, I had him on fantasy at one point, and getting 3 points for a game is not fun for your tight end.
Yeah, well, I had Pat Fryermuth and that didn't go well either. Let's talk about Adam
Hey,
Thielen though.
shout out Luke though.
Yes,
Go
shout
Steelers.
out Luke and Patty F. Let's talk about Adam Thielen. 3-year deal with the Panthers. Um, this is a fantastic move, I feel. Obviously, Adam Thielen is not the same wide receiver he once was, but the guy is an absolute reception machine. Solid after the catch. Obviously, not like a big downfield threat, but a very reliable wide receiver. And it's just yet another signing that works so well for a rookie quarterback coming in to have on his team.
Yeah, I mean it's just one of your top receivers from 4 years ago coming out here. He's gonna get this rookie someone to throw to that he can trust, someone that's been there, done that, caught a ball from many people, always with the same team, of course. But this gives him someone he can trust and that's a little bit older. He doesn't have to worry about them being, way too old. And I do want to mention that his contract is structured as a 3-year, 25 mil with 10 mil in the first year. What does that like mean to you, Grayson, for 10 mil in the first year of a $25 million contract?
I just think that's a matter of cap space. I think it's just them anticipating they're probably going to have to spend a little bit more money in the coming years, especially if this next year goes very well. They obviously have the cap space to bring in all of these free agents that they have, and they've made some fantastic moves, very team friendly moves as well. And I think that paying him more upfront works out better in the long term.
I would say so as well. Yeah, I agree with that. I just thought it was a little funky that, the majority, or almost the majority of your check is coming right away. And maybe if that looked like more of a move if they don't think he's going to perform as well in a couple years or not. But, I like how you said it better rather than preying on his downfall.
Yeah, which there's obviously a chance that that's the case, but Adam Thielen isn't like ridiculously old. I want to say he's late 20s. I could be wrong on that, but he's still a solid wide receiver. Obviously, Minnesota was just not the place for him anymore. He's not going to get targets when Justin Jefferson's on his team and TJ Hawkinson's on his team. That's just not going to happen. And he deserves to get looks. He's a very solid, very reliable wide receiver. So going to the Panthers, who are trying to form a very good offense, is a great move.
Yeah, and I just pulled it up. He's 32.
32, okay.
And he'll be 33 in August. So he's definitely pushing a little old for a wide receiver, I'd say.
Yeah, but a guy that plays his style can play for a long time, like, Julian Edelman, Danny Amendola, Wes Welker kind of guys.
You talk about white receivers, Grayson.
I sure am. Sneaky athletes.
All right. Yeah, okay. Let's move on before you get yourself canceled.
What, bro? He's sneaky athletic. Okay. Falcons signed wide receiver Mac Hollins. I think this is a fantastic pickup. I think that Mac Hollins is a pretty good wide receiver. Obviously, he's not wide receiver one. That's just not his role ever. It's not going to be. But once again, kind of like Adam Thielen, reliable, very good in like short yardage plays. I think that this pickup's pretty good for the Falcons. It's not like a game-changing pickup, but one that definitely will help this offense next season.
Yeah, I mean, he was pretty cheap as well. 1 year, 2.5. That's a light money just to throw at a guy to occupy a defender so that Drake London can put the team on his back. I do want to say Mac was only averaging about just over 3 receptions a game for only 690 yards. He was getting like 38 yards per game roughly, which is like meh, which is like almost exactly what he needs to do. If he can maybe get to 4 receptions a game, again, let Drake London get those big routes. Let him get the majority of the receptions and targets to just push the ball way downfield. But Mac will be there as the sneaky guy to just get that easy pass in the middle, or that easy slant route, or even maybe just hit like a nice little sneaky deep route every now and then, and just see if he gets open, hit him deep for one.
Yeah, I think that's a fantastic look at how he'll affect the Falcons. But let's talk about Laramie Tunsil. He got a huge payday. Obviously, the left tackle for the Texans signed a 3-year, $75 million extension. Laramie Tunsil just continues to get paid every year, and he 100% deserves it. He has been so dominant at left tackle. It's so hard to just get past this guy.
Yeah, I mean, he's an absolute menace to society. You see him in a gas mask with a little bit of weed with him, and an absolute menace. I mean, everyone, when that video came out, I remember everyone was like, "Oh, this guy's gonna drop all the way down the boards. He's not getting drafted after being like a top 10, top 5 projected pick." And then he did fall a good way. And then he said, "Hey, everybody, fuck you." And now he's just absolutely letting everybody know that they should not have passed on him.
Yeah, certainly. And the Texans could definitely use him for the future, and that's exactly what they did here.
Yes, for sure.
Offensive guard Isaac Seumalo signed a 3-year, $24 million contract with the Steelers, just trying to protect Kenny Pickett because, good Lord, does he need some help.
Oh, yes. I mean, they might as well put Luke on the line at this point. I mean, I don't know how many of you people know what Luke looks like, but
Not a lineman.
he's not a big guy, but I have a feeling even he could help protect Kenny Pickett. I'm sure every team would allow Luke to play as a blocker,
I
as a
don't know
12th
about
man.
that.
I have a feeling they wouldn't mind letting that kid get destroyed. No offense, Luke, but they'd run you over.
Yeah, it'd be funny.
It would be kind of funny, Luke. I'm sorry. I love you and all, but you're getting rolled up and rolled back out in an ambulance.
And then one of my favorite moves of really the whole Lions offseason, where they've made some fantastic moves. Picking up CJ Gardner-Johnson on a pretty small deal is a huge move. Their secondary has just improved tenfold in this free agency so far.
Oh yeah, I mean 1 year, $8 million. I mean, did you see this guy's hits in the Super Bowl? Pacheco tries to run it up the middle and gets absolutely lit up. Sends him back 5 years in brain development. Very next play, he finally gets back on his feet. He gets the ball again. And who's in his face yet again? CJ Gardner-Johnson, to absolutely make sure that he didn't get any development back into his.
A little bit of technical difficulties there, but let's get into some NFL news. Lamar Jackson was waived by the Broncos. Cornerback Lamar Jackson was waived by the Broncos. This isn't a big
You
deal. I
had me
just
there.
thought it was very funny.
I saw your note about that, and somehow it still just my heart just sank for a second there when you said that. It still got me. I've read the note multiple times because I was like, what is he trying to tell me? And somehow I was still like, there's no fucking way that just happened.
Yep, Lamar Jackson has officially been waived by the Broncos.
That's really unfortunate for Lamar. I will say.
Yeah,
Poor guy.
that one.
Hope he gets
Lamar.
back on his feet. Yeah. Hope he gets back on his feet, though.
Yeah. Dolphins, another guy who we hope gets back on his feet. The Dolphins exercised to his 5th-year option for 2024. They bring him back. I believe he's getting like 27 a year on that 5th-year option. I don't get it here. Like, yeah, you understand exercising the 5th-year option. I feel like this would have been the time to give him an extension. This is the first year that you can give him an extension. And I think this is just a little bit of injury hesitation from the Dolphins.
Yeah, I mean, do we know if he's even okay now? Like, Has anything come out? I know, back-to-back concussions and throwing up gang signs in the middle of a field is never a good thing. It
Yeah,
it just can't be. Like, is he even gonna be able to play in 2024? Like, if they put him out on the field this year and somebody absolutely lights him up, are is he gonna live through it? Like, genuinely, I am worried about him at this point.
yeah. Like it's a true health concern at this point. From the condition that we saw him in twice in a matter of weeks, that's just something that we don't. I don't want to see Tua have to retire because of that.
Yeah, that would just be a very sad thing. I hope he majored in something good like Josh Dobbs did, though, if he is gonna retire.
It's a fair point. One guy that did retire though, kicker Josh Lambo. I believe most recently he was with the Jags. Fun fact about Josh Lambo: before he entered the NFL, he was a goalkeeper in the MLS for 3 years.
Weirdly enough, that's not surprising at all, and I do wanna point out that he was an 87% field goal kicker, which is just, I don't know if that's a great career, but that sounds good, right? It's more than 50%, which is always good.
Yeah, it's pretty solid. I think the most memorable thing is that he got kicked by Urban Meyer.
Yeah, I mean, apparently he tried to sue him as well.
Yeah, I would too if my head coach kicked me.
Yeah, I mean, the judge threw out the case, but he still tried.
Urban needs to stick to his target demographic.
Yes, young women.
Yep, in his
I
own
just
bar
wanna
in
also
Columbus.
throw out that oh, wow. I just wanna throw out as well that Josh Lambo is the same age as Adam Thielen. I know we were talking about Adam Thielen being a little bit older. Josh Lambo, a kicker, is already retiring.
Yeah, but I think that's just a matter of like, what else is there for me to do?
Yeah, that's true. I mean, just keep kicking, you know?
Yeah, that's a great advice for Josh
I f
Lambo, a
I'm
guy
not
who
gonna
was.
lie, I feel like it's a great job, but it's gotta be boring to just be sitting there on the sidelines waiting for your turn to go out there and kick a ball really hard off the tee and then sit back down.
Yeah, but at least you get to celebrate if you make it.
Yeah, that's true. They hold it, you kick it up there. It's like, oh yeah, cool, high five from everybody, and then they forget your name until you make a big one.
Yeah, the head coach is just on the side. He's like, what that you get on the field.
I'm pretty sure Urban Meyer learned his name from the lawsuit.
Probably when he got presented with a subpoena, he was like,
Yeah,
"Fuck."
exactly. He's like, who is that? And then he was like, holy shit, he's on the roster.
Yeah, he looked it up on the Jaguars
Yeah,
website.
yeah, he was googling it on his phone. And he's old, so he's using one finger to type as
He's
well.
got like his readers on the edge of his nose.
Oh yeah, for sure. Just sitting there struggling. He's like, honey, who's this guy?
Why is he suing me? Oh yeah, I kicked him at practice.
Apparently,
I,
he also alleged misconduct, but who
I'm
knows?
sure there was plenty of misconduct.
Oh yeah, in that bar.
That's true. That was misconduct. Some conduct against some misses. Okay, we're moving on.
Yeah, move on. I,
All
I
right.
said we had to move on earlier because you were gonna get canceled. Keep going.
Donta Hightower is officially retired from the NFL, memorably with the Patriots for multiple Super Bowls. Fantastic linebacker. I don't think he's like a Hall of Fame level guy. I think he's like that level where it's like the Hall of Very Good kind of guy.
Yeah, he's one of those names that I feel like Patriots fans are gonna be like, "Yo, you remember Donta Hightower?" And other guys are gonna be like, "Holy shit, yeah!" And then nobody else will remember the name.
Yeah. And then the Texans traded Brandon Cooks, which I talked about. They traded him to the Cowboys for a 2023 fifth rounder and a 2024 sixth rounder. To me, this seems low, but I genuinely don't know what the market for Brandon Cooks looked like because last year at the trade deadline, it was highly expected that he was going to leave. And like
Yeah,
it seemed
of
like he
course.
wanted to leave and they
Who
just
wouldn't?
that's fair. But they just wouldn't trade him. And it got him frustrated. He sat out a couple of games. So I think that just lowered his value on the trade market because he obviously wanted to go, and the Cowboys obviously used that as leverage to only give up a fifth and a sixth.
Oh, for sure. And now it's just another person for Dak to look at while he throws to the other team.
Yeah, or when he just chucks a ball up to CeeDee Lamb and hopes he catches it.
Yeah, which ends up with the other team as well.
It didn't like 106 times.
Yeah, I'd say about 50% of the time.
Yeah,
CeeDee
probably.
Lamb's going to catch it.
And
The other
then
50%, the other team.
yes, Odell addressed the rumors of his fiscal demands in free agency. He tweeted, "I'm just so confused where the quote is from that said, I want 20. Crying emoji, eye rolling emoji. All I'm saying is 4 ain't enough." Okay, so Odell doesn't want 20. That means he wants 19, probably. I feel like Odell really wants to get paid, and I don't understand where he thinks he has the merit to ask for that.
I mean, yeah. I mean, he did, he's a great receiver, don't get me wrong, but the presence he brings to a locker room just doesn't seem to work out well for any team so far. He's always in controversy on Twitter and on Instagram lives somehow, like getting into trouble, and it's like, what are you doing with your life? And I mean, if he doesn't want 4, but he's also saying he doesn't want 20, I have to guess that he's going more towards the middle of like a 12 to 16 range. I have a feeling that's kind of what he's looking for is probably, everyone wants to get paid. So I'm sure he's looking more for that upper area of like 16 to 18. But I have a feeling if someone does sign him, it's going to be 15 or 16.
Yeah, but I feel like Odell's in a situation where if he wanted to, he could just keep holding out until somebody's stupid enough to pay him.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
But I don't know. I feel like Odell could definitely add to plenty of teams. Like the Ravens would be a fantastic landing spot for him. Do they have the money to pay him? Probably not. If anybody offers Lamar a contract, because they'll just
True.
try to match. If they match a contract for Lamar, they certainly can't pay Odell. So
Oh, yeah.
I I don't know. There's plenty of spots for him to go. It's just a matter of money, and like you said, 4 isn't enough. But is 7 enough? Is 10 enough? Like
Yeah,
that's the problem here.
Odell, tweet and say what's enough. Obviously, I mean, you're putting emojis in there. And tell us what's enough. Tell us, please. Tell all of us. And interesting idea here. What if he doesn't really want more money and he's kind of cool in it right now? And if he can't really get a contract, what's stopping him from playing in the XFL? Or, the Arena Football League, or even the CFL. Could you imagine someone with Odell's talent going from the NFL, being a star, having one of the most legendary catches of all time, going to the CFL, where you can get a running start as a wide receiver?
I'll tell you the one thing that is in the way of that, outside of the money, pride.
You've got a point, but he would most likely win the MVP. I don't know what they call it up north there, but he would most likely win whatever it is. And just because he would walk up to the quarterback and say, "Throw me the fucking ball every play, or I'll have you gone."
Yeah, he probably would have the power to do
Like,
that.
yeah, I mean, you'd have to give him that power. Like, how could you not? It's Odell fucking Beckham.
It's
Like,
fair.
like the coach has to sit there and be like, "Yeah, this guy." It's a LeBron at that point. This guy runs the team. If he wants someone, we're gonna go get him. If he doesn't want someone, pack your bags, buddy.
Yeah, Odell's just gonna build his own super team of LSU players that went undrafted.
Yeah, exactly. And, ex NFL players and everybody that, wants to go up there and just destroy people.
Hey, you could probably pick up Leonard Fournette.
That's probably true. And hey, Odell, if you do hear this and you want a good idea for a receiver, hit me up. I know who you should get.
Yeah, of course. We've talked about him on the show before.
That's true. Shout out Jay Dorbs.
For real. All right, let's talk about Zeke because Matt Lombardo reported an NFL GM that he was conversing with gave his opinion to Matt Lombardo. He said he's lost his burst, still tough, great in pass protection,
Good
instinctive
one.
runner, but doesn't have the same juice or legs he had in the past. He's not a featured back. I feel like
Excuse me?
I
Did
feel
I
like
just
this
hear
is
in the
just
past when talking about Ezekiel Elliott?
yeah, he was good at one point.
He's 27. What do you mean in the past?
He's been in the league for what, 6 years? 5 years, 6 years?
Uh, um, it's looking like technically 7 seasons.
Yeah, like the guy has been in the league and has been good before. He just isn't that good anymore. And of course he's not a featured running back, but I still think that there's a spot for Zeke. It's not as like a star, super high paid running back, but he certainly has a spot on a team somewhere because he's still a skilled running back. He can still produce numbers, just not at the same level he was in the past.
Yeah, and I mean, honestly, I feel like it almost comes back to a Devin, like I said about Devin Singletary. It's just being a Jamal Williams, being the guy who gets a 1 yard rushing touchdown every time. You never have a rush more than like 7 yards all season, but you have, you know, 10 touchdowns somehow, and you have 100 yards on the season. He's a powerful guy and he can get going quick. But at the same time, if you look at his numbers, since his third season, everything's been downhill. He went from 467 down to 420, or sorry, 567 down to 420, then 338, 287. And then last year, oh sorry, I'm looking at receiving yards.
I was about to
Good
say that
lord.
sounds
Yeah,
very
I might
low.
I might I might be special. Hold up. Um sorry. Still, he went from 1434 down to 1357. Even farther down to 979. Goes a little bit back up to 1002 and then drops all the way down to 876, which if you look at it is almost half of what he had his rookie season.
Yeah.
Like
Like he was a
at,
beast
at
at one point.
yeah, at this point I think maybe it is time to just make him basically a fullback or a third down back where he just shoves the ball for 2 yards and they let him take a breather and get a Twinkie on the sidelines.
I'm sure he would enjoy that.
I'm sure he would. That big boy needs to eat.
But on top of this news, Matt Lombardo also stated that the Bills are a team to watch for Zeke. So once again, I called this. When me and Luke reported that the Cowboys released Zeke, I said he should go to the Bills. If this happens, this would be my third call in free agency.
I mean, and it makes sense. You lose Devin Singletary, you get Zeke, they do the same goddamn thing.
Yes, I just think Zeke has a
Like,
little
yeah.
more upside.
Yeah, for sure. I think Devin Singletary doesn't have that potential to even be RB1 who's rushing for 200 yards in a game every now and then. But I think Zeke has that very they always say the chances are low but never zero. But I think Zeke has that chance to go for something big, to, put him in on first down instead of third down every time, like a Jamal Williams type deal. But at the same time, I think that's where Zeke would work best right now. And especially what the Bills need is a solid star running back, not a guy who they can push for 2 yards. The one thing they missed all season was someone who could put up 100 rushing yards
Yeah,
and take some of the pressure off Josh Allen's poor shoulders from carrying the team all year.
and from having to chuck the ball downfield every play.
Yeah, good lord. I would, the tendons in his shoulder must be crying.
Oh, I'm sure. But let's talk about Cam Newton. I never thought I would ever talk about him again. I'll be honest. I did not think that I would ever have to bring up Cam Newton in NFL news ever again. But he's working out at Auburn's pro day. Okay, whatever. He was asked about his participation. He said, "Ain't 32 motherfuckers better than me." Look, I liked Cam Newton when he was in college. When he went to the Super Bowl, he was the MVP. But I got to be honest, there certainly is 32 motherfuckers better than you. And the NFL is just done with Cam Newton. I don't care
Yeah.
if he thinks he's better than people because he just, like, the people that he thinks he's better than probably have actual upside to them. Cam doesn't have upside anymore.
Yeah, I mean, he's still, like I said, there's always a chance. There really is. But like, what team could you see him getting a spot? Like, who's gonna sign him? And
No
like,
one.
what would they even like? What is he gonna do? He already proved that he couldn't do it.
Yeah,
He
twice.
played. He went well. He did great. Then he started falling off. Then he got a second chance, and it still didn't go well. Who who does he think? I want to know. I want him to name the people that he's better than because I'd love to hear the names he would say.
I'm
Because
trying to
there's no
even.
way he's better than Mahomes, Josh
Well,
Allen.
duh.
Like, no. Unless he's counting all 32 backups. Like, then maybe. But I don't even think he's the best backup.
No, he's not. It's obviously Marcus Mariota
Uh,
or Taylor Heineke.
I mean, okay. It probably is Heineke, honestly. Or
But
Cooper Rush.
yeah, Cooper Rush, solid backup. But I'm trying to think of the worst starting quarterbacks next season. It's going to be like Jordan Love, but I think he has tremendous upside.
We don't know that yet, so we'll
Yeah, it's
see.
true. I guess Sam Howell, once again, another guy who has potential, very young player. Um, like a bunch of guys are going to get drafted this year. They're probably going to start. I wouldn't say that Cam's like, I'm sure that Cam understands the game in the NFL better than them because they've never played, but he's not better than them.
I would honestly say that Cam Newton and Stetson Bennett might be on the same level.
I don't know. I think Stetson throws a better ball.
Wow.
He throws a
There's
good
some people
ball.
that I really hope just heard that because they are never going to let you hear the end of it.
I know exactly who you're talking about too.
Yep.
And that one person who really likes Auburn can turn to the person who he's probably standing next to when he's hearing this, and they can hash it out themselves.
They will love to debate that just as much as I would love to debate that you. I think they are dead even. I think they both have a good running talent. I think they can both throw a good ball. I will agree Stetson could probably throw a more accurate pass if you gave them both 100 passes and told them to throw them. I think Stetson gets him more than Cam Newton does, but I also think that Cam Newton just brings the knowledge and they're almost the same age at this point. Fuck, I mean, but Cam Newton brings that experience, and that's the only thing that balances them back out.
Yeah, I got to put an end to this conversation. The fact that we're comparing Cam Newton and Stetson Bennett in 2023, we're talking about these two quarterbacks is ridiculous. So let's talk about just
How
an
are we
interest.
comparing Cam Newton to anybody at this point? Buddy, go sit on the couch and go to the Kids' Choice Awards again or something.
Yeah, keep buying cool hats though.
Yeah, that's true. He does have a cool hat collection.
Let's talk about this ridiculous tweet that I saw on my timeline a couple of days ago that I just decided to put in here because it's so ridiculous. The new Bengals offensive lineman Orlando Brown, during his pre-draft interview with the then Bengals head coach Marvin Lewis, was asked what the capital of Spain was. Orlando
Okay.
Brown
What did
answered
he say?
Portugal.
Excuse me?
Yeah, capital of
You've
Spain is
got to be
Portugal.
kidding. So he didn't even think to name a country or a city.
No.
He named a whole other country.
Yes.
Good
Same
for him.
peninsula.
Do we have his Wonderlic score? Can we find that?
I'm sure we could.
I'll start looking. Hold on.
But look, I'm going to cut him some slack. He's probably
Why?
never been to Spain. Doesn't mean that I'm going to excuse the fact that he thinks Portugal is the capital of Spain. But
Yeah, no.
I feel like international capitals are not common knowledge. He should
Yeah,
probably
but
know.
like,
He should know that Portugal is not a city. But I will say, like, okay, I know that the capital of Spain is Madrid, but if you add, I don't know the capital of I'm trying to think of countries I don't know the capital of. Belarus. I don't know the capital of Belarus. If you asked me what it was, I wouldn't say Finland, but
you're not gonna name a country that you should probably know of.
fair.
That's what I'm saying. Like he's got to know that that's a whole other country, right?
He doesn't have to.
I mean, where did he go to school?
Orlando Brown?
Yeah,
I'm blanking on it, but I'll pull it up.
because
I probably should have looked up Junior because I don't care about his dad.
yeah, that's a good idea.
Oklahoma.
Come on. And they couldn't even teach him what Portugal was?
Even worse, he went to Peachtree Ridge High School in Sewanee, Georgia.
Oh, wow. That Georgia education is something, let me tell you.
Yeah, it's doing wonders for me.
Yeah, it's something.
Did you find his Wonderlick?
I'm still looking. I think I might have found it. Give me 1 second. You just keep talking while I read this real quick.
Okay, well, there's not much else I can talk about. Orlando Brown, fantastic offensive lineman. Once again, inexcusable to say that Portugal is the capital of Spain, but I'm going to cut him slack. At least he got the same peninsula. It'd have been worse if he said Italy.
Yeah, he was close, sort of. He scored a 15, by the way.
That's not bad. That's like, what? That's 30%.
15 out of 50.
Yeah.
Baker Mayfield got 25. So.
All right, never mind. That's bad.
So did Dak Prescott.
What did Johnny Manziel get? I think he got like a 4, 5.
Oh God, I really hope
somewhere in there. But yeah, we don't have time to look up that one because
no.
Yeah, it's not even worth it. Let's talk about Jalen Ramsey. He had an interesting thing to say about his new head coach, Mike McDaniel. He was quoted as saying, "Coach is a little weird, but we're all weird in our own way. He's not fake. He seems cool." I'm glad that Jalen Ramsey.
Mike McDaniel is a real G.
I think he just said that Mike McDaniel is a weirdo, and I'm glad that he agrees with everybody else that's ever watched him on the sideline because he is weird. Like,
yeah, I mean, if you saw this guy walking down the street, you'd think he was like a high school chemistry teacher.
Yeah, like, I think that's a fair assumption.
Yeah, you're not going to think that this guy coaches a team in the NFL. Someone might walk up to this guy and be like, "Mr. McDaniel, did we finish the lesson? I was sick yesterday."
Yeah, there's a high chance that people would mix him up with like probably a sophomore year of high school like on-level chemistry class teacher.
Yeah, he looks like he, is very nice to people, so I definitely don't see him being an honors teacher or anything high up, but I could definitely see him helping those nice kids figure out how to mix some chemicals together.
Yeah, I think he'd be good at that.
Oh, definitely.
But he is good at coaching football. I do question his decision-making.
maybe he would still be Coach McDaniel, and he'd be, the first ever high school football coach that's also a chemistry teacher instead of a history teacher.
Or like an ISS teacher.
Yeah, or a health or something.
Yeah. But yeah, Jalen Ramsey's just simply right. Mike McDaniel is weird.
For sure.
And then Austin Eckler, obviously recently put in a trade request, said his thank yous and goodbyes to the Chargers fans and Chargers team. He was quoted saying, "I'm so underpaid right now as far as my contract and what I contribute to the team." I think he's...
I mean, there's two parts to that team, and it's him and the quarterback. That's really about it.
Yeah. Well, the defense has a ton of money tied up in it with Khalil Mack, Derwin James, Joey Bosa, and the rest of the overpaid players Not that those three are overpaid except Joey Bosa, but um, just the rest of that defense makes a ton of money. They still haven't paid Justin Herbert. So I feel like it's not that he's being undervalued by the Chargers. It's that they've got to pay Justin Herbert, whether it's this offseason or next. And it's at Austin Eckler's expense.
Yeah, which is really unfortunate because he is very good. I mean, that's someone you wouldn't want to lose if you can afford it. Like, if you can afford to pay him, that is not somebody you want to just give up on.
Yeah,
Because
of
he's going to go
course.
somewhere and he's going to say, watch this, and just show out like it's nothing.
Yeah, the guy is a fantastic running back, like a top 10 in the league. But I don't know why you have to put up like shit like this. Like why do you have to say that? You can say it
Yeah,
in your
that's
negotiations.
something. Yes, and that's something you keep off of the internet, and you say privately to people, or you say after you're actually off the team and everything. And I do want to throw this into the hat. How do you feel about him being a Bill?
I don't know.
Do you think the Bills could even pay him?
I don't think so. Because there's a lot of guys that need to get some money on that team.
That's true. You're very correct.
I don't know. I feel like there's spots where he could fit in. Like, I know Philly doesn't have huge cap space. He would be ridiculously good on Philly. Trying to think. It's hard because a lot of teams have like solid running backs to choose
Yeah,
from.
I
He
mean,
would
like I
work.
said,
Me
the
and me
Bills are
and
someone that needs him, but
me and Luke talked about it last week. I just remember this. I said that he'd be fantastic on the Bears. They're a team with a ton of cap space, and he would really fit that team. Because Austin Eckler, as much as he's a fantastic running back, his receiving skills are ridiculous.
yeah,
And
I mean that's what sets him apart from other top running backs in the league.
yeah, 100%. And that would fit so well with Justin Fields' play style, where it's kind of, run and gun, see what's open. If there's nothing, run. If there's nothing, dump to your running back. Throwing the ball to
Yeah.
Austin Eckler is never a bad option.
No, I mean he's a beast once he catches that ball. He's grabs that thing and he's gone. Doesn't even matter.
Yeah, the guy is an absolute baller. So there's plenty of teams that could use him. It's just a matter of who's going to give up the most to the Chargers.
Yeah, honestly.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for the NFL news, unless you have anything else, Nathan.
No, I do not.
All right. Well, let's talk a little bit of college football stuff, and then we're going to get into that mascot draft. So I'm going to pose this question to you, Nathan. Would college football be better if it had the same amount of parity as college basketball?
Oh yeah, by far. I think college football needs parity. I would honestly go out and say this is a wild take. College football is boring when the same four teams win every year. It's it's annoying at this point. I want to see someone small show up, show out, and show us what's going on. But at the end of the day, it comes down to a bunch of things is the reason they're not. I'd love to see a group of five school come out and have the talent and the players and the coaching to be at the top and, get ranked at the top as well. But, the biggest thing that it comes down to is recruiting, You don't see a team like Minnesota showing up in the top four. And, it's because a lot of your top quarterbacks come from California, they come from Georgia, Florida, Texas. None of those idiots want to go to Minnesota. They don't. Who would want to do that? Who wants to go from a nice warm state where it's warm most of the year, you're good, to Minnesota for 4 years even? Plus,
Yeah,
you also got the NIL deals too that these big schools can now keep up with that some of these smaller schools can't.
yeah, I think that is what. But kind of at the same time, NIL and the transfer portal have opened the door for more parity in college football because more guys can just be like, you know what? I want playing time. I know I came here, but I still have this NIL deal with this company, whether I transfer or not. Why don't I go here, be a starter, show my worth and possibly get a better look at making it to the NFL than just sitting here and doing nothing.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point, and I did some research on 24/7 Sports, which is a great scouting website for high school football and everything, just because good players wanna play with good players. You know, if someone enters the transfer portal, you know, the backup quarterback at Alabama, let's say, enters the transfer portal, he knows that he's good. He got to Alabama, he knows he's good. He's not going somewhere small, he's not going to your Tulanes, your UCFs, unless, you know, that's where he fits, but he's not going to some of those group of 5 schools or anything. He's sticking most likely in the SEC, maybe going outside into a different Power 5 school, but he's not gonna go to a school where the receivers aren't good or the scheme doesn't fit him. He's still gonna sit with a top team, which is what almost makes it boring because these other schools aren't getting those top recruits to then be able to pull in those kids from the transfer portal. I was looking at 27 Sports and I sorted it by QBs only from this past, you know, fall season of high school football. And they're, you know, obviously all these guys are committed. And it only took me to scroll to the number 13 quarterback on the list to find a QB going to the same school as somebody else rated higher than him. And it happens again at number 31 already, which means that there's 2 people already going to the same schools as somebody better than them, which means one of them's gonna get beat out. And then what happens? One of them's either the backup to the other, or they're both backups and you now have the second and third strings. I mean, how is that gonna help them? And then they're gonna transfer because they already know they're good, and they were good enough to get here, that they can then just go to another Power 5 school. And then again, nobody in the group of 5, nobody at the lower end of the Power 5 schools, your schools like Missouri, Virginia Tech, some of those kind of schools are gonna get anywhere.
Yeah, I think that that's it's tough because in college football, it's much more about the history of programs, I feel. And the best programs and the most historic programs recruit the best players. It comes down to the boosters. It comes down to the coaching staffs they can get, the scholarship money, even. Like a lot of these teams have huge budgets and they have the things that just whoa recruits. Like, look, I'm sure that there is some college football head coach that will come to your home, wherever you live, and sit down and have dinner with your family. But when Nick Saban comes the next day or Kirby Smart comes the next day and is like, and does the exact same thing, and he also is like, yeah, I've won this many championships, or I have this many guys that have gone to the league. How are you going to turn them down?
Exactly. And it's just like, it's so difficult for someone that, you know, even like I said, your other top or bottom Power 5 schools, how are they gonna pull somebody in? Um, I did a little more digging, and there's 68 and a half schools, because what the fuck is Notre Dame, in Power 5 conferences, which means that if every team got 1 quarterback off the top, you know, in order based on top quarterbacks in the country, 19 schools wouldn't even get the best quarterback in a state at all. 7 of the top 50 high school recruits in California are quarterbacks going to a Power 5 school. 7, right? Of the top 50 high school recruits in California are QBs going to a Power 5 school. Which means that means other schools would then be having to get, you know, your worst player or your first best player in Arkansas or in Alaska as their best quarterback, which
Yeah.
means they're not getting the top talent. They're just not. And there's 133 schools in the FBS. You're telling me somebody would have to get the number 133 rated quarterback and try to beat like the number 1? It's just not happening. And they're not going to be able to pull anybody in because, like I said earlier, good players want to play with good players. So
Yeah.
why is any top, the top 10 wide receivers are not going to follow the number 133 quarterback? Because why the fuck would they want to do that? He's number 133 for some reason.
Yeah, I feel like and what makes that statistic even harder to follow is like what you said. There's guys that just within the top 15 players that both go to the same school. There's
Yeah.
guys littered throughout the top 100 quarterbacks that are all going to the same schools. And
Yes.
year after year, these guys go to these same schools and they just stack up. Like, it's exactly what happened at Georgia. Stetson Bennett kind of showed up out of nowhere. But you had Brock Vandegrift, you had Carson Beck, you had, I believe, DeJuan Mathis was there with those two as well. And you also had Stetson Bennett and JT Daniels. Like, what the fuck is happening there? Like, how do you make that decision?
Honestly, like it just doesn't make any sense. And I mean, if you look at a lot of like colleges recruiting classes and their depth charts, you see that a lot of them, their quarterback rooms are young because these kids just commit and then transfer, and then another commit comes in and beats them out, and then they transfer again to some small school because now they haven't played. And then now at these smaller schools, you see kids like a Max Duggan or, even like Stetson, where they've now played for, 3 years, but they've barely played. They've just been on the team. They're just there. They're,
Yeah.
they're playing left bench at that point. So, like, what's the point at this? Like, the parity needs to be there because it's so boring to watch. If you look at the top 25, how many teams really change year to year? Honestly, it's not that many. There's a good percentage of them, too much percentage, I would say, that are still in there year after year. And it'd be nice to see teams that can then compete and stay competitive as well.
Yeah.
But it's something that I honestly don't think we will ever see it.
No, that's the thing is, yes, of course college football would be a better thing to view if week after week we had no idea if Alabama was going to win. They wouldn't be a 35-point favorite over a conference opponent. Obviously college football would be better that way. It's just, is it even feasible? And it's not.
No, not at all.
Like, there's so many guys on these rosters, and that's why I thought this question was interesting because it poses it against college basketball. There's only 15 guys on an active college basketball roster. There's a shitload of guys on an active college football roster. And if there's a really good team, they're going to get a lot of those really good players on that roster, which leaves a pretty good team to get nothing. Whereas in college basketball, if you're a top recruit in the nation, there's really only going to be like 4 of them max in the top 100 going to one school.
Yeah, and that's why you see so many basketball players that didn't go to big schools. There's tons of them that didn't go to big schools that turned out to be Hall of Famers, all-time greats. Someone like Dwayne Wade, who went to what, Marquette, right?
Yeah, before they were good.
Like, yeah, exactly. There's plenty of others that went to not as known schools or, not as big schools. I mean, fuck, Steph Curry in Dayton. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, Damian Lillard
What-
went to Weber
what-
State.
Yeah. What football players are coming out of these small schools? Obviously there is a couple littered in there. I would say there's probably more basketball players in the Hall of Fame from smaller schools than football players in their Hall of Fame. I can't confirm that right now, but I would
think there's
imagine
just too many people in the NFL Hall of Fame to
that
compare.
could be true as well.
But I
Okay, then
get your point.
percentage-wise,
Yeah, percentage-wise, I think you're probably right. As much as there are fantastic NBA players that come from the blue bloods, Duke, North Carolina, Kansas, UConn, those kind of schools, there is so many guys that come from just like Creighton, like teams like Creighton and obviously Georgetown is a successful college basketball program. It's not a big school,
I
But
mean, you had the gunslinger himself coming out of Murray State, John Morant.
yes, gunslinger used very, very seriously.
Yes, too seriously. Everyone be safe.
Yeah, don't go to Shotgun Willie's.
Yeah, John Morant's there, and he's a danger to society right now.
An absolute menace.
Yes, some would say an absolute menace.
All right. Anything else you have to talk about with that one? I think that was a fantastic spiel you just went on.
Thank you. I mean, it's so boring, I've definitely slowed down my college football watching as I've gotten older because it's the same thing. You turn a game on and you know who's most likely winning.
Yeah.
You know, it's everybody is favorited by more points than they should be. It'd be so nice. I mean, I was looking at some, I don't gamble. I'm just putting that out there. But I was looking at some lines for games and money lines and everything. And even Fairleigh Dickinson as a 16 seed upsets the number 1, and they still didn't have the greatest of odds, but it's closer than it probably should have been to the team they were playing in the second round.
Oh,
And that's what you should
FAU?
see. Yeah. You would have thought, okay, they're not going to do it again. Let's give them trash odds. They can't win again. No. People were like, hold on, these guys could be legit. You see Tulane win a game, but the next game they play against a Power 5 school. They're, set to be an underdog by 1 million.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. They just don't think it can happen again. But then you see in the March Madness, and this year March has been filled with madness. You see all of this where teams can do anything. And, obviously we can't do a 64-man team playoff in college football, or, it just would take forever and it would be horrible and last the whole year at that point. But obviously, we have it expanding already, which I think is a great start to seeing, these teams that can do it. Because if you're a 12th seed and you come in there and you upset in your first game and you're a group of 5 beating, a top SEC team or something, immediately your recruiting goes up a level. Because people are like, these guys mean business. I saw what they did. They know what they're doing. That coach looks good. I like that scheme. Get me in there. Especially for people who know they're not top tier talent. They're not your Alabama, your Georgia wide receivers. They see this other school that just beat Alabama or Georgia, and they're like, I'd like to play there. And boom, now they're up there. Now they can stay up there. And that's how it happens, is you get that big pool where anything can happen, and suddenly everything is crazy.
Yeah. I think you made a ton of great points throughout that whole thing. But
Thank you.
let's move on. FanDuel released a couple of win totals for college football, and I have some particular takes about some of these. So
I think these are wildly inaccurate spots to put them.
100%. Okay, so
I'm not too much of a gambling man, but I might take some free money.
Yeah, like, it's ridiculous because Georgia is slated at 11.5. Okay. I get it because that's probably as high as they're willing to go.
Yeah, I mean, that means what? They're making the playoff, right? And winning the first game, or
No, that would be they would go undefeated before the conference championship.
And that would put them at 12?
Yeah.
Okay. So, it's possible, but, is it really?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it is, but I would be very tempted to hit the under on that.
No, because
Really?
well, no. So the win total is all of their games, I believe. It might exclude the postseason, but I'm not too sure on how they do these, but I would assume.
So does that include bowl games?
Yes, I would assume it does.
Oh,
I'd be smashing the over for Georgia.
Really? At 11.5?
Yeah.
So you're saying they win the conference again then?
Yeah.
Wow. That's a hot take. I don't think I agree with that one, Grayson.
I don't know. But
I don't really have an
Michigan,
exclamation for it, or an explanation for it, but I just don't agree. I just don't think that they're gonna. They might do it again, but I just don't see it happening.
I don't think they're going to three-peat. I don't think that's likely, but I certainly think they have a chance to get back to the playoff,
I don't know.
and it's going to take 12 wins to get there.
Really, you think that's what it's gonna take this year?
Maybe. I'd say it's more realistically 11 to make it. You could probably get your 12th in that first one, but I don't know. It's definitely going to be different. But Michigan and Ohio State are slated at 10.5. That one just makes sense to me because one of them has to lose.
Yeah, this is like that's like the perfect line for them to set because they're gonna play each other, which
Yeah.
means one of them will probably go over and the other will probably go under.
Yeah, that
Um,
certainly could happen.
so like, I don't know what I'd be taking though. I mean, Michigan has looked good the last what they beat them the last 2 years, right?
Yeah,
So it'd be hard to not bet on Michigan, but also like, didn't Michigan just lose everything?
kind of. But Ohio
Like,
State lost their quarterback, and he wasn't their wide receiver one last year because he was out, but their best wide receiver.
well, yeah, but I mean that means you have another wide receiver one already there.
Yes, Marvin Harrison Jr. is ridiculous.
Yeah,
Emeka
exactly.
Egbuka is fantastic as well.
Yeah, I think they'll be fine on the receivers. I'm sure they have a quarterback lined up that can throw a ball, and that's all he's got to do if the receivers are that good. So, I mean, I could see Ohio State coming back and saying, "Hey, we're back this time."
Yeah, it certainly could happen. I think Michigan has done a fantastic job recruiting, and they've done a much better job than Ohio State in the transfer portal. I think that's where I give Michigan the edge is how well they do in the transfer portal because you're just bringing in guys that already have experience. It's much more important than bringing in, freshmen.
Yes,
So I don't know. I think I'd take the over on Michigan. I don't know. It's hard to say that Ohio State won't win 11 games. They could meet in the last week of the season, both at 11-0. That's a likely possibility. It's what happened this past year.
that's true. I have a feeling somebody's going to lose a game here. And I mean, I'm
It
looking
could be
now
to
and
Penn
it looks
State.
like Ohio. That's true. I'm looking right now and it looks like most likely Ohio State's quarterback is going to be Kyle McCord, who's a junior.
Mhm.
I don't really have any stats on him or anything, but if he's been playing in other places and just got here, I could definitely see him being solid. But at the same time, right behind him is a redshirt freshman, Devin Brown, who, is he's from Utah. I don't know how good the football scene is in Utah.
Solid.
Kyle's from Philadelphia, went to a prep school. And I would hope with a prep school, he's gotten pretty damn good. That's how that should work. But at the same time, you just never know. I don't know if they have other people coming in. So, hopefully they trust in one of these guys or they have somebody else that they feel good about.
Yeah, there's really no telling, who's going to have the edge here. We obviously have to watch them play games, but that's the whole part of betting on win totals is you can't. You have
That's
to bet
true.
on it before the season starts. So I don't know who I really give the edge to. I'd like to see kind of who people think are going to look better come, a couple weeks before the season. But Penn State comes in with a 9.5 win total. I feel like this is right, but I also don't know. Penn State is so weird to me.
Give me the
Um,
under. Give me the under.
I don't know. People are really raving about Penn State,
Which means they're
so
gonna be terrible.
that's a fair point. Uh yeah, I'd probably take the under
Very few teams, when they
because
give people high
they're gonna
praise like that,
lose.
live
They're
up
gonna
to it.
lose to Michigan and Ohio State, most likely.
Most likely both of them.
Yeah, so that's already max 10 wins,
Which means that they have to win every other game.
which I believe is what they did last year.
But can they do that again? They have a tough opponent against Delaware.
That's true. The Big Green.
Yes, of course. They got a cool looking logo. But they also play Michigan State, Maryland, Indiana. Northwestern's an easy one. So there's definitely games that they can lose
Yeah.
besides just Michigan and Ohio State. Plus, the Michigan-Ohio State games are only 4 weeks apart. They have to go to Ohio State. Next week, they got Indiana at home. Then they go to Maryland. And then the next week, Michigan's coming into their house. And, I don't know how well they're going to be able to prepare for it and stay with it. Especially if they get mollywopped by Ohio State, then how are you going to recover, get back against Indiana and Maryland, and still get back against Michigan?
Yeah.
I have a feeling that they could both just easily mollywop them, and if somebody else can sneak out a victory, there's the under.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm weird with Penn State because what I didn't like about Penn State for the longest time is Sean Clifford, but I believe he's done now, and I don't know who their quarterback's going to be. I really don't know. I feel like they could get 10. I wouldn't be willing to put money on it.
I don't think it's one you'd want to put money on because I think they're going to be right there where it's scary.
Yeah.
And they're going to be in that spot of it comes down to the last game more than likely. And that's the worst thing you'd ever want as somebody who's betting on something.
Yeah. So there's 4 teams that they have odds for at 8.5. That would be Notre Dame, LSU, Tennessee, and Iowa. Iowa's a interesting one because Iowa had one of the worst offenses in college football last year. So I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, if that's them betting on how many wrestlers are going to win a state title in the next 9 years, I'm taking the over.
Yes.
But if it's football, I don't think I am.
Yeah, I think I'd take the under on Iowa. I think Notre Dame will be right there. But I think LSU and Tennessee, easy overs here. I think LSU is going to be very good next year. I think Tennessee is going to be very good next year. I think their only loss might come to Georgia, and they might not even lose that one. So
yeah,
I feel like Tennessee is an easy over here for me. I think LSU is a pretty easy one to me. I think that they're going to improve. Obviously, I don't know for sure, but I think, second year with Brian Kelly, I think things look up for LSU.
Oh, yeah. For sure, I think they're going to be... Actually, I have a feeling they're going to be right where they were last year, honestly. I feel like they'll have the same record. I think it's going to just
beat
be...
Alabama?
No. I think they'll beat somebody else. They got unlucky against Florida State. We'll say that one.
Well, they're going to lose to them on opening day.
I hope so.
All right, last one we've got Colorado at 4.5, and
give me the under.
I want to take the over. I do.
You're an idiot.
No, I feel like Dion has brought in enough
of dual parent household quarterbacks. Man, shut up with these strict rules. Give me the under and let me take my money to the bank.
I'm taking the over.
You're telling me. Okay, here. Let me read you off his opponents this year, Grayson.
Yes. I will tell you win.
First game of the season.
Win.
What?
Yes. Dude, they're losing their quarterback and their best wide receiver. They're not going to be as good.
Colorado won what? 1 game last year?
Yeah. None of those players are still there.
Well, yeah, because Dion said get out and brought in his son.
I don't blame him.
Nepotism at its finest, folks.
Don't care.
Nebraska, that's a W against Nebraska.
Yeah, Nebraska W.
Colorado State, I'm not too sure about.
W.
I'm 50-50 on Colorado.
Okay, so
Oregon, that's an L.
Yeah, that's a loss.
Oregon's an L.
I'll give them
USC, L.
Yep.
Arizona State is a 50-50 coin toss, I think.
No, it's a win. So they're at 4.
You already have them at 4, and we are halfway through the season.
Dude, I'm telling you, they're going to win games.
Stanford.
Win. Stanford sucks. And they're losing their quarterback.
That's fair. UCLA. It's
Probably
an
a
L. It's an L.
loss.
It's an L.
Yeah.
Oregon State. Oregon State's
Oregon
looked
State
pretty
looks
good.
really good. I think Oregon State
I'm
would beat them.
Arizona.
No, it's a win for Colorado.
Just don't know. Washington State, I definitely could see a win.
Yep.
Utah, I'm taking
Loss.
Utah.
Yeah. Wait, are they at Utah or at Colorado?
Yes, it is at Utah.
Yeah, they're losing.
Yeah. No alcohol allowed, baby.
Yes.
I don't.
Did they
see
not
them
play?
getting
Did
5
they play
wins.
Washington?
No, they just played Washington State, and that's it.
Weird. Okay. I don't know. I feel like they could certainly get 5 or 6.
I think they get 4.
All right.
I think they barely miss it.
All right.
And I think a lot of pressure then goes to Deion Sanders about how the hell he only won 4 games.
I don't know. I think that the media is going to have a real short leash or a real long leash for Deion just because he's Deion Sanders.
That's true, but I feel like the first comment you're going to hear is, let me guess, your lineman had 2 parents.
Probably. I'm sure that would be the issue there.
Let me guess, your quarterback's family got divorced in the middle of the season. Now you can't trust him because he wasn't raised by 2 parents.
Yeah. I still think that's just such an outlandish thing to say.
It really is. That's another one of those things you keep to yourself.
Yeah. Let's talk about the Big 12. I think they're making a fantastic move here. They're partnering for a conference-wide pro day starting in 2024. Fantastic idea in my mind.
I think it's amazing. It's a conference combine, honestly. That's what it is.
And
This is
every
a
NFL
conference
scout's
combine.
going to be there.
Yeah. And they're all going to be focused in on every player that played well in that conference. I don't see why every conference isn't doing this.
Yeah, I feel like
I understand it might take a while, but damn, this would be amazing to watch, to see all of, think about all the SEC quarterbacks this year getting to go out all with, the other SEC quarterbacks only, just them, and watch how they compare against each other.
Yeah.
That just sounds awesome.
Yeah, well, and that's all of the top 4 quarterbacks for SEC.
Exactly.
But yeah, and then CJ Stroud.
Well, yeah, CJ Stroud.
But look, it's a fantastic idea. I do agree. I think other schools other conferences should do it, but I think that they could also do individual ones as well, because the individual ones take a single day. So
yeah,
I think you do, obviously it goes combine and then probably the conference wide and then each team individually if they'd like to.
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
If every team is doing, or every conference is doing their own pro day, what's the point of the combine?
I think it narrows it down. I think that the conference wide one will be much better for late round guys, even undrafted free agent type guys, to see them, because not all of them are going to get a combine invite.
Well, of course, that's why I'm saying, what's the point of the combine then?
I think that puts the spotlight on them a little bit better, but also it's an NFL
spotlight
run
is still
thing.
On your. Yeah, I think the only thing that would really make the combine worth anything is just that everything is done on the same, everything. So your 40s are all timed by the exact same lasers. Your drills are all done by the exact same coaches. Everything is the same for everybody. Where at a lot of these, if you have separate conferences doing separate things, there can be flukes in the 40 system. There can be coaches who, have a funny voice like Ed O calling out the commands. You could have some goofy stuff like that where it throws people off and now they look bad instead of good, or they look too good instead of bad. And then you get a lot of stuff. And that's the only reason I think that you would still need a combine. I think that is the only thing, though.
Yeah. Florida State and Georgia Tech are going to play a season opener in 2024 in Ireland. So this past season, the season opener in Ireland was Northwestern versus Nebraska. An absolute shit game. Florida State versus Georgia Tech, though, It's going to be a good game in my eyes because I think Florida State would probably stomp Georgia Tech even in
I honestly hope
2024.
it's a decent game to watch though. You know what I mean? I don't want a snooze fest like the national championship game. I want something that is actually quite enjoyable to view as this game that's happening in Ireland of all places.
Yeah, I think it's interesting, and the crowd was fantastic last year in Ireland, so I'm sure it won't disappoint. And yeah, I think it's a fantastic idea. Obviously, like college football is something that you can't grow like a worldwide brand, but I still think it's cool that they're doing a couple of international games.
Oh, for sure. I mean, like you said, it's not something that's going to be everywhere. Um, but it's definitely cool to see the crowds in a game that's in a whole other country, even when they, like the NFL with them going to Germany and Mexico and England, you get to see these whole different crowds and expose them to teams that they would only get to see on TV ever. It could be a bucket list item for some of these people to see a football game, see an American football game, and now they get to have one in their country.
Yeah, I think it's fantastic. Let's talk about something that's not quite fantastic. Alabama defensive back Tony Mitchell was arrested last week. It was reported that Mitchell was driving 141 miles per hour in an attempt to flee police in Florida. He was caught, and deputies recovered 226 grams of weed and over $7,000 in cash from the car. Later, Nick Saban announced that Mitchell is suspended from the team.
He's just suspended.
Yeah, for now.
That's just a suspension for Saban.
Hey,
That
man.
is
He
that is an
runs college football.
interesting. Yeah, I mean, I guess, but like, when Buddy's in jail for a little while, is he still gonna have eligibility?
Maybe.
Like, are you telling me this motherfucker's gonna go to jail for 7 years plus and then come out and be like, Saban, thank you, buddy, I'm coming back now?
You never
Like,
know. Let's be honest.
you really don't. I could see him getting a great NIL deal with the corrections office as well.
Dude, Nick Saban could probably get this off his record somehow.
It wouldn't surprise me. It really wouldn't.
He can pull whatever strings he wants. He probably recruited the son of whatever police department's chief, probably recruited his son, and he's like, all right, you're going to wipe these, right? And he's like, yep, gotcha.
Probably. And then he got him a nice NIL deal. He hooked his dad up with a new car.
Yep.
Got him the nicest squad car he could find.
Got him a supercharger in there.
And boom, now he's clear to play.
Yep. This is such a crazy situation, though, because obviously I would assume he was on spring break in Florida.
Yep, on his Henry Ruggs driving capabilities.
Yeah, not quite as fast, but still fucking fast as shit.
Still too fast.
But that's a lot of fucking weed.
Yeah, that's half a pound.
Yeah.
That's it's a hefty bit.
It's concerning, honestly.
Yeah, like I'm surprised he didn't get intent to sell.
I'm sure he will.
Yeah, oh, I would imagine.
It's a little bit too much weed to just be like, yeah, this is just what I smoke.
Supercharger and his son, then I have a feeling, Snoop Dogg's the only guy that smokes that much in a day. So I just don't see him not getting an intent to sell with that much.
Yeah.
And
Well,
does he not have an NIL deal or something? Why does he need to be making more money?
he might not have an NIL deal. I don't know. But let me get back to this 226 grams thing, because that is astronomical. Like, even if you have intent to sell, why do you have all of it in your car?
Hey, man, when you're driving 140 something, you said?
Yeah, but that was just to get away from the police.
Oh, okay.
I'm not sure, why they were trying to get him. Probably because somebody was like, yeah, this guy's got a shitload of weed in his car. But I just, yeah, it's crazy.
I mean, the thing is, someone had to have called in something, or he passed. What probably happened is he's driving down on spring break, headed to wherever. You said he got arrested in Florida, right?
Yeah.
So he's probably heading down to the beach, you know, it could be late, could be middle of the day, whatever. And maybe he's got a headlight out or something. Cop flips his lights on to come after him, and he goes, "Fuck, there's a half pound of weed in my car. I can't get pulled over." And
That's fair.
Zoom, took off, gone.
This is
But
just not a predicament that most people are in, so it's probably hard
oh
to
yeah, I'm
understand.
sure. I don't think I'll ever find myself in this predicament of having a half pound of weed in my car.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like I'm probably in the same boat.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is just crazy. And I feel like this goes back to this ongoing conversation about Kirby Smart in Georgia, where people are like, oh, they have a discipline problem. There's a discipline problem across college football. There's a reason that week after week, just in football in general, we come on this podcast week after week, and we have to talk about somebody committing some crime every time.
Yeah.
Look, these guys.
Can we not go a week without them getting in trouble?
No,
Anybody?
we can't. It's not possible. But
apparently,
like, these guys have the whole world in their hands when they play for Alabama, or like Joe Mixon. Obviously, the two things he's been accused of recently, not talking about what he did before he left Oklahoma, but the two things that he's been in the news for recently, both proven that he was not the person that did it. But so many guys keep making these mistakes, and a lot of them are the college guys, and it's almost like they know that they're a notable person, just, around the world, not around the world, but around the nation and, in college football. And they just get a huge head. They think that they're some big celebrity, that they can, do whatever they want. And I feel like you can't put it on the coaches to be like Nick Saban's doesn't fucking know that Tony Mitchell had 226 grams of weed with him in Florida, but like, there's nothing that him or Kirby Smart or any other college football coach can be like, remember, guys, don't drive around with half a pound of weed in your car. Like, that's something that doesn't need to be said.
People are saying that Saban and Kirby are the reason, like it's like he's their dad. Like, they're not the parent. They are their coach. Yes, a coach is supposed to be a mentor and a leader to players, but he's not his father. He's not his mother, grandmother, guardian, whatever. He is not the one who is having to teach these kids right from wrong. That is not his job. His job is to teach them right from wrong on the football field. And very small life lessons that still regard football or basketball or whatever with all of these athletes. He is not supposed to be the governing body over these children. Some of them, not many of them, but some of them being children. And, under the age of 21 for most of them, they can't even drink legally. I'm sure plenty of them are. But, like, he's not their dad. Nick Saban is not this kid's dad. He is not walking up to him, putting his hand on his shoulder and being like, son, I hope you don't drive way too fast evading the police on spring break because you got a ton of weed in your car. That's not the man I raised. That's not his job. It's just not.
Yeah, I think it's ridiculous how people just immediately blame coaches. Like, the Alabama basketball situation. Everybody's like coming at Nate Oates for obviously. Okay, look, Nate Oates looked like a real dumbass in those press conferences. But do you really expect a guy to be like fucking surveying their text messages and making sure that a guy that is doesn't play, is a rotational player like Darius Miles, isn't doing bad shit on the side? No, it's not his job. He's a basketball coach. It's just
what do you expect him to do? Do you really expect him to be like a middle school mom where, he's like, all right, you got to turn your phone in before the end of the night, guys, so we can go through all your texts? Like, that's not his job. I don't even think he's got the right to do that.
No. It's insane. All right, well, let's
I'd
talk
love to
about
see a
this.
coach try to do that, though. That would be
I would as well.
hilarious story to come out.
Let's talk about this real quick, though. Uh, I don't remember who reported this, but they tweeted out, sounds like we're going to hear in the coming days/weeks about the Georgia Bulldogs football program and recruiting violations. NCAA is doing more than poking around. I feel like every
Not gonna
time somebody's good,
before
this
you go,
happens.
I'm not gonna lie, I haven't really heard much about this, so I don't know too much about these recruiting violations.
I don't either because nobody has said anything. This was announced like
Oh, lovely.
probably I think it was like 5-6 days ago, and nothing has come out yet. So maybe this guy was lying. Maybe it is
I
something and it's
I
not a
think
big
I
deal.
think you got duped by the fake blue check mark, Grayson.
No, I didn't. This was from trusted sources, but it's just like, at what point do we just not give a shit about recruiting violations anymore?
I don't think that'll ever happen because then we're gonna have major issues, and that parity will never happen.
But when it comes to like what we used to know as recruiting violations are things that people are openly doing, like offering players NIL deals before they're even on the team. Like it's exactly what happened with Florida and Jalen Rashada. Is like, yeah, you'll get 13 million if you come here. Signs this letter of intent, and they're like, oh, sorry, don't have the money anymore. That should be a
Yeah, which
recruiting
is
violation.
wild. It definitely should. I think making a promise to somebody about an NIL deal should be against the rules. But I think if you just say like, "Hey, we have these kind of deals," or like, "You could get one of these deals," is fine. But if you promise somebody that they can get a certain amount of money, that should not be allowed because at the end of the day, that's how did the word just absolutely leave my head? Bribery.
Yep.
You're literally bribing somebody to come to your school, which has been a very big controversy in NCAA sports in general. That the last thing we need is people promising a 18-year-old or even 17 at the time $13 million to come to a school. Like what? That's a lot of fucking money.
It sure is.
We went over some free agency signings of multiple people that didn't even add up to that amount.
Yeah, it's a ridiculous amount of money, but I don't know. I feel like recruiting violations at this point mean nothing because everybody's doing it in their own different way.
Yes, and I think they should mean something.
Yeah, duh. They're genuinely cheating the system. Do we know if Georgia actually did any of these things? No, of course. Like the NCAA is just looking around, but I don't
Well,
know.
apparently
It's
they're
so
doing
crazy.
more than poking
Yeah,
around, as this person
whatever.
said.
I don't care. All right, let's get into this draft though. I'm very excited for
Oh,
this.
I'm very excited for
All
this.
right, 5 rounds, of course. So you can pick a live mascot, a obviously a animal suit, I guess would be the term suit mascot. I don't know.
Yeah, I
Whatever.
call them mascots.
Yeah, a real mascot
Yeah,
and a
and
live mascot.
are we going 1 to 5? Is that how we're doing this, right?
What?
Or we're
Yeah, of
drafting like
course.
a draft. Okay,
Yeah,
just checking.
yeah. So I have the first pick in every round because I had the second pick in the last draft that we did on the podcast. So Nathan, unfortunately, even though you're the guest, you get to pick second.
That's fine. I'm still gonna wipe the floor with you, and that's a Kyle Schwarber home run to bring the USA within one in the 8th inning. By
Oh,
the way,
baby. And that was a fucking piss missile.
that was
God.
also I think the ninth pitch of the at bat. He fouled off like every pitch down the line, and then finally got it to go out.
Jesus Christ.
And that's off you, Darvish, by the way.
Yeah. Shohei is warming up in the bullpen right now, though.
Oh shit!
All right. 1-1. Chief Osceola and a
I,
Renegade.
I knew you were gonna fucking do it at 1.
It's
You
so fucking
jerk.
cool. It's so fucking cool.
Yeah, they got a flaming spear. How could you not? And he rides a horse.
Yeah. Like, it's like, obviously, the inspiration for the logo. Well, the logo inspired, whatever. He's the logo, but on top of it, there's so many other, like the spear is a huge part of the brand. Renegade is a huge part of the brand. Like all of it together, like encapsulates the Florida State athletics like culture.
Yeah, whatever, man.
Ha! Stole it.
All right, whatever. You enjoy that one. I went for just outright cool factor on my first pick. You didn't even take who I wanted at one. So, outright cool factor is Ralphie, the buffalo from Colorado State. It's a fucking buffalo. What? There's just like 4 dudes and just running around with a fucking buffalo. And that thing is just like crazy. There's clips of that thing like dragging those guys and running into things and just doing the wildest shit. And it's just a fucking buffalo. Them things are huge.
Yes.
I don't know how many people listening to this have seen a buffalo in person. I personally have, and it is terrifying. They are huge creatures.
Yes, they are, especially when you're driving right next to them.
Yes, I would imagine so.
Which is when we saw them. But yeah, that's a fantastic pick. I'll be honest, wasn't on my short list.
Guess you weren't thinking about the cool animals.
Guess not. But I actually am, because mine is Micah the Tiger, the live LSU Tiger mascot. He's just a fucking tiger. That's badass.
Yeah, it is.
There's nothing else to say. What is cooler than a fucking tiger?
I'll tell you what's cooler than a tiger. At my second pick, give me Bevo from Texas. It's a fucking bull.
It's fair, but
the thing is literally a longhorn. How much more encapsulating the name can you be than the Texas Longhorn being the mascot for the Texas Longhorns? What? And again, back to the same point I made about Ralphie. He's just running into stuff. And at the end of the day, that's a wild animal.
Yeah.
That thing is not Ugga, that boring trained-ass bulldog that's pampered its whole life. That is a wild animal.
Wild is a stretch. Because
okay.
He's on a ranch.
Yeah, but still.
And I'm sure he's pampered.
Yeah, but is he pampered like Ugga? Does he have a field side air-conditioned doghouse?
He probably has an air-conditioned barn.
Fuck, I wish I had one.
Yeah, I'd take that. But also, fuck Bevo for trying to attack Ugga in that bowl game a couple years ago.
Yeah, that was quite scary.
Fucked up. He went rogue.
He did.
All right. I'm really split here on who I want to take. Third pick. Give me the Oregon Duck.
No.
He's the fucking GOAT. Like,
when it comes to like all time,
the mascot suit, he's the best. He's the funniest. Yeah. He's got charisma. He's silly looking. Like commercials, Nike stuff, like all the Nike stuff with Oregon and the duck. Like, fantastic mascot.
Yeah, all the push-ups.
Yep.
That was a good one.
So much better than Miami's.
Oh, way better. I don't think you could be better.
No.
All right. At my next pick, since you decided to take all of mine because you copied my list basically. Give me Sparky from Arizona State, the Sun Devils.
Solid.
He's a creepy looking dude.
Yeah, he is.
But I mean, shit, does he look like he's got some swagger to him? That man shows up to basketball games with swagger. He shows up to football games with swagger. I'm sure he shows up to the water polo matches with swagger.
I don't know if anybody's ever said swagger that many times in the last 10 years.
Hey, man. Give me some credit. I'm old.
Like, not really, but yes, a fantastic mascot. He looks creepy, but cool as shit.
Yes.
Oh, man, I'm split again. I should have made this list this long.
See, I did. I made 5 and just hoped that you didn't take them. So I'm struggling right now to think of people.
All right, I'm taking Toledo's mascot, Rocky the Rocket.
Oh, that's a good one.
He just looks cool as hell. Like he looks like a astronaut slash speed skater.
Yeah. Kind of sick, honestly. I
Yeah,
can't
and
lie.
he's like one of the best to use in NCAA.
Oh yeah, if you never used him, then you weren't playing right. You were using some boring stuff. You got to use the spaceman outfit.
Yep.
All right, and my number 4 pick here in the 4th round. Uh, I'm gonna take the off-brand Chief Osceola and Renegade. Give me Nitro from Central Florida. It's basically just a golden knight on a white horse that's got a nice black and gold kind of attire to the horse. The horse just looks great, like I said, he's an off-brand renegade. But the knight, I don't even know how he sees out of this mask. Like he's blind, I swear to God.
He doesn't have to.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if the horse knows the path, but that horse could lead him down to I would say a canyon, but they're in Florida, so there
A
aren't any.
sinkhole.
Yeah, sinkhole in the middle of the road, maybe. Alligator infested waters, I guess. But like, it looks cool. Like if I just saw that knight walking around, I'm like, damn, that guy looks cool.
All right. Well, my final pick. Uh,
If you take my 5-5, I'm gonna be very upset. Or 5-10.
taking the Horned Frog. TCU.
Okay.
I just like it. It's more creative than other teams' mascots.
Oh yeah,
And he looks cool. He's a lizard.
yeah, not a frog.
No, Horned Frog is just a lizard.
All right, and for the last pick of the draft, this is the smaller school. But give me Big Green, aka Keggy the Keg from Dartmouth College.
That's
Man,
I'm challenging this. This is an unofficial mascot.
what? I mean, yeah, kinda, but I could have chose Rhode Island School of Art and Design, but I didn't.
Okay, I'm glad you didn't.
So yeah, give me Big Green. He's literally a keg with a green undershirt on and a smiley face. What doesn't scream college about that? That just screams, I go to Dartmouth.
Yeah, Dartmouth, the original. They had the first fraternities.
Yeah, exactly. Well, there
Pretty
you
sure
go.
beer pong started at Dartmouth.
I'm sure it did, and Keggy was probably pissing it out.
I hope not. That sounds disgusting.
It does sound a little gross.
All right, well, that's the whole draft. Let's get some dishonorable mentions.
Yes, I have a couple.
You could go ahead and fire them.
All right. First off, give me Albert from Alabama. This is going to piss some people off. But where the fuck is there any mention of an elephant? I may not be a big Alabama fan, so I don't know the story behind this because I'm not a loser and a bandwagon. But where the fuck did an elephant come from? And why does it look so shitty? like the trunk is just hanging there like it's nothing. It's not even like, at least make it controllable by the guy inside. Not to ruin the secret behind mascots for you or anything, but like, it looks terrible. At least get something cool.
Yeah.
Do you have one before I rip off a couple more?
Yeah, because I have one who has the same name. Albert.
What?
The Gator from
Oh,
Florida. Fuck him. He
good
looks weird.
Lord.
He looks fucking weird.
Yeah.
And like the old one is even worse. Like the eyes look weird. The new one, the eyes still look it's nasty. And like, first off, horrible mascot on NCAA. Looks
Yes.
like shit. It like the giant tail looks so bad. He looks like he looks like the green version of Barney. It's horrible.
Oh, God. Well, yeah, following that up, give me Big Red from Western Kentucky. What the fuck? Like, I understand his name's Big Red, but why is he literally just the red version of Cookie Monster? Grayson, I know you already have enough trouble telling what color Cookie Monster is, but
He's blue.
what the fuck is this? Yeah, of course he is. Yeah, I'm just fucking with you. Yeah, he's blue.
Good.
What the fuck is Big Red? He's literally just a blob of red. And speaking of that, what the fuck is Otto the Orange besides just an orange? Like, I understand you're the Syracuse Orange, but come on. at least make the top part of the costume the orange so that the person inside isn't looking through a hat. They're looking through the hat. And why is his nose so circular? I just don't get it. And why the arms come out the top and his legs are so long? It's disproportionate to the size of the orange costume.
I couldn't explain it. Let me give you one that I can't explain. Stanford tree. What the fuck is that thing? First of all, he's not even the football team's mascot. He's the band's mascot. That is so lame.
It really is.
It's so bad. And like, first off, once again, he looked horrible on NCAA. He looks worse in real life because like the newer version is much less of like a cohesive being and more of just a bunch of wires and stuff with leaves on it and like an angry face and a hat.
It's just so awful.
Yeah, it's bad, man. And like it used to be worse because like the face was weird and like they could not decide on how the face should look and the eyes always change. Like I don't know how it could possibly be this bad.
Yeah, the only thing that gets any worse is Pistol Pete from Oklahoma State. That mask is like terrifying. I'm gonna have nightmares after looking at this picture of this guy. Like, and also his name's Pistol Pete and he's carrying a double-barrel shotgun around. Why not call him Shotgun Pete at that point?
Yeah.
Like what's the point? And he's just scary looking. Like, you're telling me all these people want to see that? No! Get him out of my face and right with him at UTEP, get rid of Pay Dirt Pete. He looks the same, but with a scruffy beard and a gross look at a hat. And it just doesn't get any worse. It really doesn't. They're just disgusting.
I can tell you what mascot's scarier looking.
Oh, no.
It's the fucking Nittany Lion. Penn State's mascot is so bad. Like, it looks like a 5th grade arts and craft like Wildcat.
Yeah, like, they couldn't even do what BYU did and make the same thing. Like, you could at least have a raging Mormon on the sideline. But no, they have Cosmo the Cougar. I mean, I guess that's just as good as a raging Mormon, but...
I guess. But, like, the Penn State one looks like, I don't know, like a 1910 teddy bear.
It looks like the drama club decided to do a rendition of, what's that fucking,
The Wizard of Oz.
Yes, the Wizard of Oz. And that's the fucking lion they made.
Yeah.
Why? Why?
Bad.
Why? And why does he have gloves?
Dude, I don't know. It's weird.
And he's naked.
And he has a scarf that covers his dick.
All I can think of is it's like one of those string bikinis for a man that goes over his shoulders.
Yeah, I think that's what the scarf's for. I think it's covering his dick.
I think you need to make an edit of this. I need to see the Penn State Nittany Lion in a string mankini.
I could probably pull some strings.
Oh, God. Oh, Grayson.
Not like that. Not like that. All right. Any other dishonorable mentions you have?
I'm sure there's plenty more, but we'll give those schools a break.
All right. Any honorable mentions you have?
No, we already went through all of them.
All right. Well, there's two that I didn't, one that I didn't take that was on my list. It's Aubie. I think he's the best looking animated tiger mascot because Mizzou's is dog shit. Clemson's is weird. LSU's is weird. I think Aubie is the best looking tiger suit.
I guess I'll give that to him. I don't know. Probably.
All right. Well, let's talk about the World Baseball Classic.
Yes.
Because this tournament has turned out to be something so much better than I probably could have ever imagined.
Yeah, and it looks like it's going to have a good and bad ending.
Yeah. So, we'll start off with the games that set this up. So we had already talked about Japan had beat Italy. But Friday, the day that the last episode came out, Puerto Rico played Mexico. Mexico wins. They come back from, I think they were down 3. They win it 5-4. Great stuff. Giovanni Gallegos comes in for the save for Mexico. Fantastic stuff there. So that advances them. They have to play Japan. United States beats Venezuela off of like one of the greatest home runs ever. A grand slam to take the lead by Trey Turner and win the game. It was ridiculous.
Yeah. At this point, Trey Turner is the new Captain America. Sorry, Mike Trout, but it's Trey Turner.
Yeah. Mike Trout is the captain of the team, but I agree with you. Trey Turner has absolutely saved the ass of the United States.
Yes.
And then the U.S. moves on. They play the very next day on Sunday against Cuba and just absolutely beat the fuck out of them. 14 runs, 14 hits. Cuba, 2 runs on 12 hits. It was just all out, like just brutal beatdown by the United States.
Yeah, and after that game, an interesting thing happened with one of the catcher for Cuba, Ivan Prieto, decided to just not get on the plane, and he is now running loose in Miami.
He's defected from Cuba, just like plenty of other guys on their team.
It's quite interesting though. It's become a big story, and I don't know if anyone's even heard from or seen of him since this came out. But
I don't blame him.
Yeah, he has now been lost in Miami, and it's going to be hard to find him in this big country.
Yeah, relatively big. He could probably get pretty far.
He probably could. I'm sure he's got some money with him and some clothes, and I mean, who knows what could happen.
But yeah, with that game, like Trey Turner obviously hits the big grand slam the night before, comes out, hits 2 more home runs. Like, holy shit. Like, the guy just cannot be stopped.
Yeah, I mean, coming in to the finals now, he had 4 home runs in his last 7 plate appearances.
Yeah, absolutely fucking ridiculous.
Yes.
And then Mexico played Japan Monday. Japan comes up down 5-4 in the bottom of the 9th. Shohei Ohtani, leadoff double. And then he gets Shohei Ohtani hits a leadoff double to center. Masataka Yoshida walks, and then Munetaka Murakami doubles on a fly ball to center field, and both score. They walk it off 6-5 to advance to the championship. And as we speak, Japan has the lead in the championship game right now, 3-2. The United States trying to crawl back, but Ohtani is on the mound at the moment.
Yeah, and I don't know did you watch the game or see the clip of the walk-off?
Yeah, it was crazy.
Yoshida might be the fastest man alive.
Yeah, he was hauling.
He was moving. He almost caught Ohtani on the base path.
Yeah, it was.
He was flying. Crazy. Yeah, one of the biggest things I've seen about Japan recently has been Roki Sasaki. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly. I do not know how to pronounce a Japanese name too well. But he went crazy yesterday off a clip of him throwing an absolute beautiful 102-mile-an-hour pitch that was just insane. Just blows past him. Couldn't even try to touch it. And I decided to do a little more digging on Roki just to find out who he is. First of all, he's a 21-year-old player from Japan, obviously playing in the professional league. But this was his first full season this past year playing in the professional league, and he threw a perfect game, striking out 19 batters, which is now the most ever in a perfect game in baseball history. That includes MLB, Japanese league, Korean leagues, everything. At one point during that perfect game, he struck out 13 batters in a row, which is 4.1 innings worth of batters. And Grayson, I don't know if you've ever, sat there and struck out 13 batters casually. That's not something that's easy to do.
I've probably done it in MLB The Show.
Yeah, sure you have, and on rookie difficulty.
Yeah.
But so, he finishes, gets the perfect game, cool. Next start, after, they go through the rotation and everything, he throws a perfect game through 8 and only gets pulled to protect his arm. He went 17 perfect innings in a row,
That's absolutely ridiculous.
which is also would break the MLB record for most innings pitched in a row. Perfect.
Wow.
In his first full season this last year, though, after all this, he averaged 12 strikeouts per 9 innings.
Damn.
12. That's a lot.
Yeah.
That is too many. Yeah, so he won't be able to be shopped, or he won't be able to be a free agent until 2027 unless the team agrees to let him be shopped by MLB teams, which also happened recently with another one of the players for Japan, one of the outfielders. Don't remember his name, but he signed with the Red Sox after being allowed to be shopped by his team. So we could see that happen with Roki. I don't know for sure what'll happen. Obviously, I'm sure he's gonna have some thinking to do and hoping that the team would do that. I don't know how often it is that teams allow that, but I would really love to see him over here because if he can throw 17 straight perfect innings, I'd love to see what he can do in the MLB.
Yeah. It's gonna be ridiculous if he comes over and he's that dominant.
Yeah, I mean, shit, if he comes over here and decides that the MLB's even easier, the MLB could be in some trouble.
Yeah, that's a lock for Cy Young if he's pitching like that.
Yeah,
It's absolutely ridiculous.
especially 12 strikeouts per 9 if he's doing that in the MLB.
Yeah. Shohei
Good luck.
Ohtani just walked Jeff McNeil to lead off the top of the ninth.
Yeah, that was a good pitch out of him. It probably
Yeah, it was real
3-2
close.
is not a pitch you want to just watch, but hey, and it looks like Bobby Witt's going to run though. So got some speed on the bases now.
It's good. I like it. All right. Well, let's get into Do You Remember? And then maybe this game will be close to ending by the time we're done. We'll see. But Nathan, since you're the guest, I will let you go first here. You can go
I
ahead.
actually want you to go first. I'm going to give you the honors, even as the guest. I'm going to give you the honors here because
Okay.
you were hyping yours up, and I think mine's pretty interesting.
All right. Well, look, this one has to do with what we're going through right now, which is the NFL offseason. And I just want to pose the question, Nathan. Do you remember Johnny Manziel's 2016 offseason?
Are you talking about Party Manziel?
Yes, Johnny Football himself. All right, I'm going to run you through
I just
all
want
of
to stop you
these
real quick.
ridiculous
That's a
things.
double play by Japan to clear the bases.
Are you fucking serious? God damn it. All right, whatever. Mike Trout's up. It's fine. All right. Now I'm going to talk about it.
Wait, hold on. This is Mike Trout versus Ohtani. This is something.
Yeah, we're just going to comment.
All right, now you're good though.
Okay, so ball one.
Oh yeah, Oh wow, you're ahead of me.
I'm actually behind on my TV, but I'm watching it on the MLB Game Day website.
That's
It's a
so
1-0
fun.
count.
And just
Ball.
watch it live with me.
Nope. Because I'm pretty sure I'm behind you
Awkward
because
silence. Oh, there we go. Oh, that's low. Okay, that was a low. Looked like a breaking ball.
yeah, this shows it as a sweeper.
Ball
That's
one.
what MLB says.
Okay, yeah, it definitely swept. It started pretty far inside and got back to about the
Yeah,
middle. Of the plate.
not enough horizontal motion to be a slider. Ooh, little heater.
And oh wow, that was the pitch. If Trout was gonna hit a home run, I think that's the one right there.
Yeah.
And this is a very friendly matchup, I would like to think, or a very competitive matchup. I would
Oh
say.
yeah. This is for bragging rights when they go back.
And Grayson, don't you think it would be really cool if the person leading Japan as Shohei and the person leading America, Mike Trout, were just on the same team and teamed up? Don't you think they would just run the world?
Yeah, you would
Oh
think
wait,
so.
hold on.
It's too bad
They
that
don't run the world.
It's too bad the Angels don't know how to put their money in any other positions.
Wow, that was 100 mile per hour just on the
Yeah.
just outside. Wow.
Oof.
You think Shohei walks him just to make it interesting?
I think that would be interesting. Paul Goldschmidt has not been very
Oh
good.
my god.
So,
Trout can't catch up to the heater, it looks like. That's
yeah,
interesting to see. It looks like Trout might be a human being.
I don't believe it.
I
Then
don't
again,
either.
neither is Shohei.
Yeah, I was about to say, hold on. Shohei is definitely a
These are,
cyborg.
yeah, just two.
This is a cyborg versus an
Oh,
alien.
I just saw what the next pitch is. Whoa.
Hold on, I'll commentate it. Shohei's looking for it. The windup and the pitch. Oh, low and away. 102.
Yeah.
Good lord. All I can imagine is if that was a high fastball and it was
I'm
104.
I'd have just already pissed myself. I don't care if it was a pass ball. There would be piss in my pants.
If only we didn't have a double play, that could have been a runners moving kind of situation there.
All right,
And it's
well,
3-2, 2 outs. What's going to happen, folks?
I already know.
Trout's ready. Shohei's here. Wind up the pitch. Strike 3. Japan is your World Baseball Classic champions.
Look,
Off of Shohei, Roki Sasaki, and a bunch of other players, and those are the only
Yeah.
2 I can name. Oh, besides Lars Nootbaar.
yeah. The biggest story here, though, Japan just didn't lose a game
Yeah,
at all.
and
That is ridiculous.
might have been one of the best runs we've seen. I don't know how other teams have fared in other years. It's the most I've ever really paid attention to it. But this was a pretty dominant year, it seemed like, for Japan.
Yeah, definitely proving that the United States could use a better pitching staff because, like, how the fuck was that our pitching staff this year? It
Yeah,
was ridiculous.
I want to know what happened with that, whether they couldn't get guys to do it, or if teams wouldn't let them do it, or what was happening that we could not get starting pitchers. And also, I just want to give a shout out to the Japanese team for how respectful they are after they kick
Yeah.
your ass, because they will bow to everybody in the stadium and they wait around, they bow to the opposing team and everything. I just watched Shohei throw his hat and scream, but still,
Yes.
he is the respect of the Japanese culture is amazing.
It is fantastic, and this team is so much fun to watch. I love watching not just like the culture of these teams, but just like actually breaking down how they play the game because it's simply just different from how American
Oh, very
players
much.
look when
As
they play the
somebody
game.
who, yeah, somebody who helped coach players and developed players' pitching styles and swings and everything in baseball, watching the Japanese team hit and pitch and just throw in general is amazing. And I would love to learn more about that to be able to understand why they do it and how much more beneficial or anything that it is, because it is incredible how well they do.
Yeah,
And I mean, they just proved that it doesn't take a full team of MLB All-Stars to win.
yeah.
Everyone kept saying, oh, blah blah, Team USA's got the most stacked roster. Okay. Are you sure? As much as I love most of the guys on that team, Japan just said, "Hey, watch this. We're going to bring a bunch of our team or our professionals. We'll take a couple of our guys back, thank you very much. Now watch this."
Yeah, it's crazy, but like, look, it's fucking inexcusable to have Merrill Kelly starting the championship game for the USA.
Yeah.
It should be Scherzer or DeGrom or Verlander or fucking Max Fried. Like,
Max Fried
literally,
wouldn't be playing for America, buddy.
no, he would.
I don't know. There's
It,
another country he could play for.
the Israeli team is just a bunch of guys that aren't good enough to play for the US that also are Jewish or just know Jewish people.
Yeah, the restrictions for the Israel team were very light because I remember they posted a TikTok where one of the guys literally said his wife was Jewish, and that is it. That's all
Yeah.
it took.
Shout out Corey Dickerson.
Yes, what an absolute performance. I will say, if somebody listening somehow has a connection to get me a pair of those shorts that the Israel team's wearing in practices, I will pay good money.
He'll pay you $1,000.
No, whoa. Calm down.
Go ahead and send him the invoice.
No, please don't. But
All
I cannot
right.
find them. So even if you have a link, I'll take it. All
All
right,
right.
back to the remember.
Do you remember Johnny Manziel's 2016 offseason? Okay. So we start the 2016 offseason. His marketing agency drops him. All right. Then
Okay.
his agent, Eric Burkhart, announced that he would no longer represent Johnny Manziel. Then
Lovely.
the Browns released Johnny Manziel soon after it was reported that Manziel was being investigated for a domestic violence incident with his ex-girlfriend. And this is all before like free agency even starts. In
Nice.
mid-April, his new manager, Drew Rosenhaus, who has worked with plenty of athletes who have had their fair share of controversies, some being Antonio Brown, Tyreek Hill, other players of the sorts have definitely had their problems, have been represented by Drew Rosenhaus. He dropped Johnny Manziel.
And that's saying something, because,
Yeah.
good God, those other guys have done some crazy things.
And the same day that Drew Rosenhaus dropped him, Nike ended its sponsorship with Johnny Manziel. A few days after that, Manziel was indicted by a Dallas grand jury on misdemeanor assault charges from the incident with his ex-girlfriend.
What a time.
Yeah. Okay, it keeps going because a month later,
Oh, God.
Johnny Manziel's attorney accidentally sent a text to the Associated Press. Okay, that's not an accident.
No.
In this text, he was talking about Manziel's case and his defense, and he alluded to Manziel's inability to stay clean. He was given a receipt that suggests that Manziel spent $1,000 at a store called The Gas Pipe. I wonder what he was buying there.
Yeah, probably just filling up all his cars.
Well, The Gas Pipe was later announced to be a drug paraphernalia store. Once again.
Whoa, what?
No way. It's crazy.
No.
But also, $1,000 fucking dollars?
Yeah, I don't know how much that gets you at a drug paraphernalia store, but I would imagine a good bit.
Yeah. Maybe he's got like Dan Bilzerian's collection. Have you seen all that ridiculous shit? It's like all like guns, but it's just like a bong.
Yeah.
Him and Laramie Tunsil need to link. Dan Bilzerian, Laramie Tunsil, and Johnny Manziel.
Oh my God.
The
amount them and Snoop Dogg could all get together, and good God.
Well, so the decline just continues here. Because on the same day that the Associated Press released this, Johnny Manziel's dad told ESPN, and this is all in quotes, he's a druggie. It's not a secret that he's a druggie. Hopefully he doesn't die before he comes to his senses. I mean, I hate to say it, but I hope he goes to jail. I mean, that would be the best place for him. I'm doing my job, and I'm going to move on. If I have to bury him, I'll bury him. What the fuck?
And that's his biological father?
Yes, that is Paul Manziel.
Hey, Paul, if you somehow get wind of this, you're kind of an asshole.
But, like, that's a pretty good reality check.
Yeah, but damn.
Tell the biggest company in sports media that your son is a drug addict.
Why don't you just say that shit to your son instead?
He probably wouldn't talk to him.
Maybe.
Johnny probably wouldn't talk to his dad.
I wouldn't either if he talked to me like that.
Fair enough. All right, well, let's keep going. A few days after that, he was suspended for the first 4 games of the next season for violating the NFL substance policy. What a surprise. Throughout the offseason, he was spotted partying in various cities. He was accused of trashing a rental property after a drug-fueled party. And he also meaning he most definitely did, get matching weed-themed tattoos with his then teammate Josh Gordon. And we all know why that is funny.
Yeah, what a connection.
And obviously that suspension that I talked about didn't matter because he never made another NFL team again. And now he's a nobody.
I was about to say, what's he up to these days? Can we let me try to look that up? Do you got any more to talk about?
No, I think he just plays golf now. He genuinely does nothing, I think.
He's in the fan-controlled football league right now.
I don't think
he
that's
has hit
still
rock
going.
bottom.
That's the problem. I think that shit folded.
Sounds like someone needs to update his Wikipedia.
Nobody needs to, actually, because he's doing nothing.
He also played in the CFL for
Yep.
3 different teams. He played in the AAF for a league, when they were around for like 2 days.
Yeah. Imagine
Yikes.
being a Heisman Trophy winner and a CFL journeyman. That's fucking
What
embarrassing.
a what a way to go, It says he's still with the Zappers.
Yeah, whatever.
Like I said, that means he's hit rock bottom.
Yeah, no shit. All right. Well, yeah, that is the story of the a majority of the downfall of Johnny Manziel. There was plenty of other things that
Oh yeah,
happened, but
of course.
quite a couple of months.
Oh yeah, for sure. What was the time period of that?
So
Do you have the exact dates?
I have a couple, but where it first starts is when his marketing agency dropped him. That was on January 16th, right after the season ended.
Yeah. So
And he got dropped like a few weeks later. Like as soon as the season was officially over, they released him. And then like I said, so a majority of this happened in April. And then into June was when the attorney released, all the information about the stuff to the Associated Press, and his dad talked to ESPN. And then just a couple of days after that is when he got that suspension. So essentially, it happened from January to mid-June.
oh god, what a rough time.
Yeah, I'd be doing drugs too if that happened to me.
I mean, I would have waited till after probably, but it's whatever, I guess.
That's a pretty hard thing to go through.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. But I can't relate, so I don't plan on doing drugs anytime soon.
Yeah, me neither. All
But
right.
yeah, Grayson, do you remember Cal Bowdler?
No, I don't.
Didn't think so, but he was a Hawks player from 1999 to 02. He was
Wasn't
drafted in.
alive at all.
Yeah, I was barely. He was drafted in the first round, 17th pick. That's pretty good. Well, he was he was decent. In his 5th NBA game on November 13th, 1999, he recorded 14 and a half minutes, shooting 50%, which is solid until you realize he only scored 2 points.
Nice.
He also had 2 rebounds.
Sounds
But
pretty good to me.
do you remember him committing 7 fouls before being thrown out?
No way.
Yes, he's the only player ever in NBA history to have 7 fouls once they established the 6-foul rule. And he will probably be the only player to ever do it because the only reason it happened is that the refs forgot how many fouls he was at because he was such a nobody.
Wow.
So then he got his 7th foul, and they thought he was at 6, and he was counted as having 7 fouls after the game. And which is even crazier because throughout his very short career of 3 years and not many games, he only averaged 1.1 fouls per game he played. But he had 7 in one game.
That's fucking crazy.
Yeah, and I mean, the chances that gets broken are very small unless a rule gets changed to make more fouls allowed.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I've never heard that. I'm very
I hadn't
surprised.
either until today. I was doing some research and found this, and I was like, wow, it's even better because it's a Hawks guy, and that just makes it funnier.
Yeah, that's absurd.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for us. Make sure you're following us on all of our socials. If you're listening on Apple or Spotify, make sure you give us 5 stars. Give us a follow on there as well so you keep up with all of the uploads. Join the new Reddit. That is r/second2nd and AND short SHORT. And then, let's see, what else? Yeah, that's
Go
really it.
follow.
Oh, yeah.
Can I give myself a shout out real
Yeah,
quick?
you can give yourself a shout out.
I know Grayson hates this and all, even though he's somewhat a part of it. But go give my TikTok a follow if you're on there as well. Follow Second and Short Pod on TikTok as well, and then go on over to DISC _gang And give it a follow, give it a like. It's just a bunch of fun, just a bunch of me and my buddies going out, playing disc golf, throwing some shots. Go watch how the disc flies. It's always a fun time to watch. Have some fun. Enjoy it.
All right, you heard the man. Go follow Disc Gang on TikTok.
And Second and Short Pod.
Yes. All right. Anything else you've got for the people, Nathan?
No, sir. I'll see y'all if Grayson ever lets me come back, which I doubt will happen because I'm sure people aren't gonna like having me here instead of Brock.
We'll
Sorry,
have
Brock,
to see.
I love you.
We'll have to see what the people say, but Brock's not leaving. So, yeah, that's going to do it for us. I'll catch y'all next week. Nathan will catch y'all never. Peace. Peace.